What's your style? Get your merch at shop.eslgaming.com.
IHC versus Lynn Vision, in many ways, perhaps the new El Clasico of Asian CS. It feels like Rare Adam just qualifies themselves to whatever tournament they want, and then somehow IHC ends up breaking Lynn Vision's hearts when it matters.
Or even breaking Rare Adam's hearts, actually. You know, sometimes they just take the spots away from them, too. So, heartbreakers of the region, but they've had to break some hearts themselves, and breaking heads is Emilia. Bartek finding a trade over on that B bomb site, but if flashes are good, not a lot of vision for anyone here, but IHC have so much presence, they're getting the trades they need to, but only until Blitz is left alone, 1-on-2 with the kit. He doesn't have armor for these fights, and they double swing right into him. Lynn don't mess around, they don't wait around, they pulled that out of the slums. It looked like things were going to slow down to a complete halt.
Blitz's flashes were so good that he completely blinded out Bartek as well. That's how good my man is. A full 5-second blind on Bartek from Blitz's flashbang just meant that he couldn't take care of any of the angles and felt so boxed in that he wasn't going to have any additional help coming forward. Sure, it did delay the monster pushes from coming through, but the problem is he was still the only person who could feasibly contest the short push as well, and Monster can just duck down and keep proceeding forward even while flash towards the pillar. So, unfortunately, that one flash might have been the game changer. Annihilation's had his game changed in a way that maybe he's not too happy about.
Oh. Okay. Tagged and then immediately went in for the frag, but does get punished. Isn't allowed to escape. They were hot on his heels. They didn't want to let him get away with that. And so now they've lost 2 players over on that A side. You can see Mar already rotating over, Blitz considering the same. But Lynn are keeping things nice and cool, keep collecting themselves together, and should just be using that numbers advantage effectively right now if they're positioning outside of B. That is the right call to make.
It'll leave Bartek to try and get a nice little highlight reel at least. I don't think highlight reels are going to be transpiring, though, unfortunately. Rotations will come through. They've got some deagles.
Oh.
Bartek's got some kills. Maybe it is that highlight to come forward. Zaka will be forcing him out with a Molotov thrown from his teammate, but G is the one to close him apart. So despite a nice double, that is where things will come to a close.
Yeah, a little unfortunate there as well that he has to sort of deploy his own Molotov there as opposed to a teammate kind of being able to take that responsibility from him. But Lynn are meticulous. They throw the right utility in the right spots, and even though they don't clear the barrels, end up being able to salvage that situation. Took a lot of damage for their efforts, but Lynn now in with a less commitment coming into round number 3.
Oh, all right, Blitz with a run boost forward.
Very cute.
You can just go over the Molotov?
I think the Molotov was just too late, but
I think you might be able to go over it as well, like with the run boost. I don't know how much the verticality makes a difference. Blitz's deagle has always been infamous in how much it can get done.
Well, that's an AK, and so that's going to prompt Lynn to attack further in towards this A bomb site. They realize that their back could be exposed. What? Emilia 1 kill, and the flash is great, but kind of the wrong way, blinding up the attack. IHC get nothing on the whole today.
I thought for a second Westmelon just one-tapped out Bartek. And no, it was Emilia to take him away.
Yeah. Emilia very, very sharp. Said it last time we were sort of watching them versus Clutch, but a player that's really come into his own with how little experience he sort of garnered. And I think that's only something that we can commend Lynn for being able to do. You know, I think as far as them scouting, you know, young talent and making them look competitive, Lynn are probably one of the best organizations that have been able to do it.
To be honest, it feels like all of these Chinese teams are just getting so much better at it as well, right? This is just Rare Adam, obviously, the big standouts with Mercury and Messiah. Lane have brought in, what, like 5 different players and made them look competitive. The only person who maybe would be an exception to the rule is Nelly. It is pretty impressive.
I think Nelly was also quite a young Young character as well, though. So
Yeah, but they couldn't make him look impressive the way Emilia does.
yeah,
you
yeah.
know?
I think there's a bit of a disparity there. It's also why they eventually moved away from Nelly, now known as Crisis. AWP for Annihilation, and something that won't be contested on the Lynn side, but they've been doing quite well with collecting themselves on these rifles and establishing trades. Want to see whether Mara gets up to his antics. Like I said before, on CT sides, they like to use him to gather information and take over territory, see if he can play a bit more positionally. But with the way this round is starting out, IHC don't seem that interested in going for that forward presence.
Good spam damage out of Emilia as well, right after Blitz popped open the door. Zacher lurking forward in his new role, looking for a kill, but is forced away. That's been Westmelon's position pretty consistently in the past, and I always thought he was fantastic on it, but obviously things have been jiggling and juggling. Ever since the departure of X-Pro.
Yes. Well, it might be as well another... We have no idea, but a little notch there that maybe indicates that Westmelon's maybe being put into a leadership type position, you know, playing a part of the pack. He's the most experienced guy they've got. He's been on this team for years. Good timing on the smoke here for IHC. Lynn Vision need to get a move on. They can't wait this smoke out.
Oh, they seem to be so aware that Techno could be around the corner, but they're not able to do anything about it, ignoring it at the last minute. And Techno now, with a triple set up for himself, will be inaugurating IHC on the scoreboard. Zacher, the only one left alive on the lurk that simply will be forced to save.
Yeah, I mean, what can you do there? Lynn are setting up for an execute, and as soon as they start grouping themselves frontside bathrooms, that smoke just immediately in their face. And if they, you know, there's no real good counteraction to when that happens. You know, they could try running through it, but then they'd have to effectively try and beeline for the person that threw the smoke, who's doing so from the other side of the dice. It's just almost impossible to hunt that player down, and then it just sets up Techno even more. So They eventually tried to go for it. They tried to flash over the frontside bathrooms, but it didn't catch Techno, and that one smoke is really what makes it so that Lynn cannot execute.
I really like how Blitz plays rotate personally on the B-bomb site. It's a little bit different because he saves that grenade till slightly later in the round, so it is a shift away from the early connector nades that have consistently become presence on a threat. It also means you have a little bit more room to play off of the information that you're getting, and as an IGL, you can ask people to get that info for you. So it's just a bit of extra dynamism in how the grenade is used.
Yeah, a guy likes to remain versatile. Good on rifles, good on Deegs. That's about as much versatility as you need.
As well.
Yeah. That was another question we had moving away from our clutch game, is who would wield a secondary AWP if IHC would even be interested? Maybe it would be Blitz.
Oh, had spotted. Techno immediately decapitates Star. He was such an incredibly important part of yesterday's Overpass performance from Lynn Vision. Bartek docked away. Zacher trying to phase the smoke, but it'll be refreshed before he's given the opportunity to do so. Mara and Bartek was a bit of a sore point when we talked about them on Overpass before, but Westmelon fully blinded out. Techno's got the assistance necessary to get that frag and bring it into a 5v3. These individual lurking players are just being taken apart, and Emilia now will be pairing up with Zacher, but they both fall. Mara somehow holds on for dear life, and G will be able to get the bomb to the site in time, but he knows he wouldn't have been able to get the plant with the watchful eyes of Blitz up above.
Yeah, just taking too long and giving up too much ground. Great job there from Mara to be able to establish that double, you know, getting the trade and then immediately turning over to Monster where the Lynn Vision player was trying to cheat past it, just so that he could deal with that presence. And IHC are in a position where now they can effectively break everything down to 0 here on the Lynn side. You only see one commitment into an AK, the rest are saving. So looking at whether or not G can perform heroics. I do miss the times where buys like this would very, very much catch us off guard. It felt so, also fresh, also new. It's like, how could you? 1 AK, 3 Glocks, or what have you? It's not exactly the highest percentage round, but teams explored it more and more because sometimes, you know, even though it's not the highest percentage, you still have a percentage chance to win it.
Oh, nice.
God damn, that timing was perfect.
I think he just barely spotted him. Perfect timing. Annihilation has been caught off in the perfect time from G, only to be traded. Techno's having a, wow, swelteringly hot game.
Yeah. Hyper sharp, very quick.
And obviously, Techno is one of those players who does sometimes have performances like it. He was playing the B bomb side before as well, if I remember correctly. So taking over some of Score's positions, and that was something that was a question mark for me, is that Techno's got really good aim. It's all about whether he can sort of be molded into that superstar player of consistency that Score was supposed to be for this team.
Yeah, it was Techno and Cabal, right?
Yes, if I remember correctly.
So, yeah, much has changed. Bartak in, Mara in. Don't think that's the, you know, that's not the long-term solution.
Probably not.
But equalizing 3 straight here for IHC and being able to deal with what was an awkward buy with the 1 AK, now into a full investment from Lynn. The only one that will be bowing out is G in terms of having a rifle, but can almost recover that off a teammate or an opponent if given the chance. Spotting just a slither, I think. WestmeloN felt like he spammed that with such conviction. And that's an opening kill, and a big one to find at that, considering Techno's been pretty pivotal on these A-holds.
A lot of the counterplay from IHC has been set up around him with flashes to assist into secondary peaks if he's not just taking the primary fight in the early round, which is what he tried here. Flashes forward, Zakar is ready for this push to come through, and he'll peek out at the perfect time, but only be good for the one. Advantage still maintained, and with Bartek being as low as he is, the call will have gone out. Bartek needs to come through with some sharp shots, a Molotov to try and force them to stay away, but a flashbang as well turns around. Perfectly played, Bartek! What a timing to catch them out on. Perfect set of affairs, just chains it all together with not a millisecond to spare.
He had no business winning any of those fights over towards Monster, and it's turned around on its head. Lynn taking space over at the A-bomb side, but being down this extra man will make a massive difference. They're going to be chasing ghosts about whether or not they could be getting flanked or whether they just simply group up all together. IHC have been quiet on this rotate up.
Bartek's also still got an incendiary, so although he's the one making noise, this will just be an incendiary to try forcing out Starry from a position he wasn't even in. Still just ends up falling. G, good for one, reveals his position himself, and with the grenade going forward, Annihilation caught out as well. G is setting up for success, and he will be able to find it. Bartek's 3 kill will be succeeded by a second, and G just has his pulling through at a better time.
Yeah, I mean, perfectly done, and the perfect read as well. You know, he only had confirmation on 2 players, but immediately identified that there was a player over at Bank as well after hearing the scope of Annihilation, hearing the nades being pulled, and was super quick to isolate all of those fights. IHC couldn't react fast enough about how to approach the situation because those players were split between the stairs and Bank simultaneously. All that work, all that effort there from Bartak to get hold back on that round for nothing. So stellar G 1v3, and it will actually slingshot them into a position where they can break the money as well for IHC. Blitz the only one that buys in. Even still has floating cash. I think the important piece is that both Lynn and IHC have been in these spots now where, you know, they still can squeak together buys, but they're suboptimal buys, which does lower your chances of winning the rounds. You know, you're either compromising the weapons you have or compromising some of the utility that you're going to bring into the rounds. And when it comes to this head-to-head, that's very important.
Well, there goes your only rifle.
Somehow the USPs were gonna kill.
Maybe not.
I still hold hope.
I think they do as well, Michael, but not very much of it. Bartek Ziegel, now that's an entirely different conversation.
Now that is.
I've come to the same conclusion, though, as WestMeloN does still have that flick. Okay,
Yeah.
Annihilation, your turn.
No problems in the end. WestMeloN, lovely stuff, and put into a spot where, you know, he can be kind of that lurking presence. Told his team to go the other side, anticipated the stack, and he had some stats dealing with pistols. Much more we want to see in terms of our matchup here today. When we saw Lynn against Wings up, it felt like Wings were just getting kind of destroyed. Everybody was firing on all cylinders for the Lynn side. The lurks from Zacher were working out. The close, the entries as well from Emilia and Starry were looking great. So to see IHC put them through their paces, you know, you don't see the same kind of pop-off performances from these Lynn players, and that's to be expected. Another move as well. And through the con, they flash for Techno to take that peek, and it just means that Zacher is completely alone. That might be something that's exploited as well. Very frequently was that the case against Wings Up, and Annihilation catching WestMeloN peering a little too deep.
Flash forward, dodged out. Let's go for the first star. He's gone. Ooh.
What do you do about
A little bit
that?
unnecessary brutality, but yeah, this is just a quick one-sided affair. I have to say, Michael, I'm really surprised that IHC is looking so good. And this is despite the fact that Mara, you know, outside of that one round where he got a double kill, has effectively not been able to have that much impact in terms of the scoreboard at the very least. IHC are looking quite competitive despite all of that.
This is just one of those things where, you know, I think they've got an established enough playbook where, you know, you're giving yourself easier duels, you're setting up for fights. That's not going to change. You know, bringing in Mar, surely he's the easiest one to integrate because he probably helped establish some of those protocols and some of those differences. I think it's some of the things we see from teams that are a little bit less experienced is that when they have a roster move or they have a change, it just takes a little bit too long to facilitate and bring everyone in because they don't have that same playbook.
Oh, Bartek caught out. That's massive. He's been so important over here on the B-bomb side. Mara will have to come through with another good kill, but Zacher has been forced down low by the HE, so he will just be backing out. In the meanwhile, WestMeloN replaces him in his old position. Mara to suffer a fate that so many before him have as well.
Blitz to take over, and Techno will join him in his effort. Annihilation's even considering the rotate round, and they'd be right in gambling over towards this B bomb side, but Annihilation not fully convinced. The AK, the utility sails out in time, and Techno finding the trade. That's bomb, but I don't know if it was spotted. Fully blinded by the time he finished that frag, and Techno dealt with. So Annihilation, 2 to attack from the action, still 3 alive here for Lynn. This will be a 6th.
And obviously, the one thing that we have to keep in mind is as good as the CT side may have looked so far in IHC, this is still very much where we were hoping, you know, that they can get 8 or 9 if you want to see them actually have a chance to close out this game. And the further away we get from that, the more likely it is that Mara's relative lack of firepower, obviously relative to score, which is saying not much, might come into effect later on.
Yeah, there's a reason he was, you know, a part of the brainy side of the operation. There's a reason he stepped away from the mouse and keyboard. But I do expect that, you know, because it's been a little bit more difficult for him to win some of these fights, even when it's come down to these late executes or, you know, even finding a trade or getting caught by WestMeloN. You know, these are the types of positions that you don't want Mara to be put in. You don't want him in situations where he's actually forced to just out-aim, you know, Emilia, Starry, WestMeloN. if that's a part of the strat book, it doesn't feel like it's very well thought out. Like these are players that have continued and are still very, very high level players within the Asia region. So that's where I want to see him, you know, be that pro, get that information, play more positionally, and take territory away. We have yet to really see that come out so far this game. It was certainly something that proved to be pretty valuable against New Happy. Maybe not raising the alarm just yet.
Oh. Great clear from WestmeloN.
You know what I am surprised about?
Yes.
I'm surprised more people haven't done that weird Gamer Legion boost inside of Con.
Wait, which one is that? Where you, like, in the corner?
It's like you can boost on top of a light inside of Con. Kind of similar to where Blitz died, but a little bit more elevated. It looked like such a ridiculous angle to have to clear that...
I'm just surprised we haven't seen that run boost more often from them. The short one. Blitz run boost into short. Yeah, especially because it has been now, what, 2 rounds where Blitz has opted to buy into an M4 and the rest of the team has been on an eco. That feels like it's a perfect situation to actually try and go for something like it.
Yeah. Well, they only came into this round with a rifle and an AWP, and they made exit the exact same way. You know, they lost Blitz, but Techno's got his hands on an AK. Mara will try and, I think, recover that M4, but given that WestmeloN's already got his watchful eye on it, not standing a chance in that. Even see that being a very conscious effort there from WestmeloN, thinking there's an M4 here. He looked at the body to confirm it was still there. Good stuff. It's all very intentional.
Well, at the very least, Blitz's M4 will be, you know, replaceable by the AK. That's quite nice for him. Although I'm sure Techno would rather keep a hold of that himself.
Yeah, he's been having a great game, so
yeah,
no reason for him to feel like he needs to bend the knee. Blitz who?
I would be surprised if we don't see a change of pace over towards the B-bomb side soon, though, because Techno has largely been their point of aggression, their point of contention for early round situations. But now that that has somewhat fallen away from them, maybe the B-bomb site will be where we can see a slightly greater attempt to impair.
Yeah, I was saying, you know, kind of as a joke, Blitz who, but I think the real question is Annihilation where? So far, not being able to have as much impact as we maybe want out of the AWPs, had chances at it. And once again, play very, very defensive. Overpass a hard map to instill the fear into the T side, but you have to mix in aggression every now and then, even taking peek. Bartak, Molotov down, Zacher cheated in front of it, and the double entry attempted. Mara collecting on 2 himself. So once again, it's set up where Bartak may die, but Mara succeeds.
Almost the exact same situation as well, right? Just Mara comes through with a bit of an unlikely double, no flashbang to help out, nothing like it either. It's just literally, I know where they are, so it's a little bit easier for me because of that.
Yeah, and they happened to be almost on the same angle, kind of similar to when they were wrapping around monsters. So yeah, it's
he's a specialty player.
Yeah, it's the opposite side of the duel, but it's the same circumstance.
Well, I guess what better to have a specialty player than towards Monster Overpass if you were a B-side player, right? Save will be coming out from Lynn Vision regardless. They don't want to go for this. They have enough money to be able to buy up in the next round. As long as they can maintain that situation, they should be okay for the rest of the half.
Yeah, I think we're certainly seeing IHC a little bit more cognizant of the fact that Zacher is trying to just constantly pull through either the monster or the short side of B. You know, I think that's something that we weren't really sure if we would see something like that. You know, we've had lurking presence from before from Lynn, but everyone has a different tempo or different internal timing.
Yeah.
And Zacher, I mean, for those not in the know, used to be the AWPer, and you know, I'd like to think still AWPs, but honestly, we don't know what the future holds on that front. since G has taken over those responsibilities for the Lynn Vision side since coming in. We don't even know if that's an official signing or whether he's just standing in for the remainder of the season, given that X-Pro is out.
Okay, Mara. Spots out. Not quite able to replicate that blitz success, but at least it's a fair bit of damage out of WestmeloN. Zacher. Oh my god, Mara! That's just a Ferrari peak, not what you expect from him at all. Obviously, we saw some of that on Nuke as well.
Yeah, it went so wide that Zacher wasn't expecting that. Usually people try and play the headshot angle, but Mara had other ideas.
Well, element of surprise and whatnot, I guess. Best element in the periodic table. Annihilation, peeking forward. The repeak's not giving him anything, but Techno's at least been set up for success. Annihilation forced off again. Is Techno brought to court, but not quite able to show up. Annihilation finally gets one in the 3 peaks that he is able to go for. You're definitely right. He's looking a little bit on the weaker side of things, but fortunately it is once again a 4v2, but with rotations from the B-bomb side not yet having come through, Bartek's aggressive position might end up being a bit of a detriment if this ends up being a B-sided hit. 30 seconds on the clock. I thought they might have liked to save. Their money isn't great on Lynn Vision. Neither is their loss bonus. But Bartek is about to realize that he's left Mara in a very difficult position to actually contend with. Mara's going to be having to spot out these players and fight forward. Decides to do only one of them. Deep Molotov will force him off the angle regardless, and a flashbang to keep Starry out of contention from taking a look over towards the Heaven players. Bartek's timing will at least be fantastic. If he can just catch out the man, and Starry's demise is met by the G going down as well. But the bomb plan is honestly really good for them. I think they can get a buy off of that now.
Yeah, no, the bomb plan is pretty massive in that respect, and it will allow them an option at least to go for it, but it will be suboptimal. That almost could actually allow IHC back into this game if they decide to go for this and don't succeed. And it seems like they are going to snap right into that buy. You see the shots missed there from Annihilation, but he's drawing presence away from the potential flank there from Techno as well. So it's not all doom and gloom. The AWP is still having some kind of influence there, if not only to distract. That's part of why they tried to play that setup. Playing detached from one another on the A side is actually a pet peeve of mine. But it can really work out wonders, especially if you're just very elusive on the site.
Also, if there's no real demo footage for people to look up the fact that you are playing attached consistently, right? Adjustment periods are definitely something you can take advantage of. Zacher, meanwhile, that's on a deal. Mara will be winning out despite some streaks of form that we have seen from him. Techno's rotation through will have to come with the collection and Emilia. A kill that is not found at all. And Blitz and Annihilation have to try and clean up. Starry's dropped down. I think that should be heard. Blitz will be trying to move in from short and find him. Starry's ready for it. Starry picks up the frag, makes it look easy.
Not much more to do other than save here if you're Annihilation. He's in an okay spot, but it's all about Techno and his future. Just really solid, clean work. Punishing the aggressive moves. Not getting caught by any of the presence there from IHC either. Very little to write home about. And just ultimately, they stopped in place once they got that 4-on-2 and just allowed them to let them stew in the fact that the round had kind of fallen out of their hands. Blitz, you saw the heroics he was up to, so yeah, nice work. 7-8 rounds already far and away exactly what you were hoping for coming into this pick if you are Lynn Vision. And could even set themselves up for a 9th. There will be another full buy here for IHC, but do they maintain this static style of play? I feel like And at one point or another, I was one of the people saying Annihilation, he's maybe too crazy on the AWP, but we haven't even seen him go for an aggro peak really on this AWP since he's had it on the CT side.
Now, the Maniac has definitely been stifled inside him, and you start to wonder, could it not be? Is that an option?
And like he goes for that peek, he peeks it for like a second and then just leaves. He's very quick.
What is this? Yeah. Oh, it's the old Annihilation.
Yeah.
The peek your brains out Annihilation. Mara. Flashbang over here means Starry's having a harder time. G's late on the verticality, and that means he's already lost his teammate before he trades. Zacher, position reveal, but maybe not at the distance it's traveled. Good flashbang from Blitz will catch out both Mara and Zacher and WestmeloN, rather, and Zacher's demise has been met with a grenade to the face. WestmeloN will be proceeding forward. They don't know his position, and hell, with the way Zacher's been playing, it could have been him all alone. WestmeloN, though, peeks in. Bartek quickly decapitates him and now will combine forces with Blitz. G, last remaining member. IHC set up for 7 and it will be collected, getting themselves up to the bare minimum. But can they do more than that in the second half? We'll have to find out after a break.
You love it, you wear it. What's your style? Get your merch at shop.eslgaming.com.
A competitive first half, but you always have to wonder whether the CT side will hold even more dominance from a particular team, and Lynn Vision would be the team to be able to get that bread, as the Zoomers say. IHC starting off with 2 sets of utility amongst Blitz and Annihilation. Starry, that's what one of them, Annihilation, taking a quick shot to the side, and now Starry has to be careful. He's on sideline. He's all alone on A. And as a result of that, Lynn Vision are going to be left without a lot of information, losing a player that deep so early. You've got no way of trading him. You've got no opportunity to try and make sure that can actually give you any value at all. So
Yeah.
IHC will be confused.
Yeah, and the problem will be is that their positions aren't even that intuitive to go and probe for information now that they've lost that player over towards the A side. So they're flying in the dark here, and they're just hoping that they stack the right bomb site. You can see them still hedging their bets, 2 and 2 split. Very deep angles over on the B bomb site. If it is going to be an attack there, they want to try and play retake, but IHC have the util to actually burst onto either side, and with 45 seconds, they're going to have to make up their minds.
Oh. Saka wants to take the B forward initially. There's 2 players contending with him, both of them at slightly different verticalities, and Emilia's caught out in the middle of nowhere. Mara to get 2 on the entries into the bomb site. It seems like this man only gets double kills or no kills at all.
Yeah, that is definitely a correlation. Once you unleash him for 1, you'll get a second. And G needs another clutch. He had a 1 versus 3 in a post plant, but this one seems a little insurmountable. Kid has dropped truck side and 4 players to find. First head, second as well as lightning quick there from G, but he's now dropped to 4 HP. He doesn't have enough time to reroute to pick up that kit, so now split between 2 angles. It's more than just 2 for Mara. It's a third and a pistol round pickup for IHC.
You started to believe there for a second when he gets that kill. Maybe you didn't, but I definitely did. And I have to say, one of the most exciting parts about Lynn Vision CT side will be G on the AWP in comparison to Annihilation. Because you're going to get to see an Opera who is playing kind of defensive and positional, but also knows that semi-aggressive position that he needs to take oh so well.
Yeah, like he seems to have rehearsed his fallback angles. You know, he'll take a relatively safe aggressive peek because he can just round a corner almost immediately after he takes that shot. And he's also a bit more dynamic. You know, we never saw Annihilation go over towards the B-bomb side. I kind of expect we'll see G take that journey.
Float like a butterfly, sting like a G. That's what Mr. Lee said, right?
Yes. That does change the meaning of that quite substantially. Like G, the letter.
I mean, was it B the letter, Michael?
No, it wasn't, but...
Exactly, so it's J-double-E.
But, I know, but it's just an alias, right? Like, what is a singular G? Like, I can have a singular B.
As a gangster, that's what it is.
Yeah, that's what I mean. You know, it changed the meaning of that quite substantially.
Well, I think G's gone and found his own sort of internal crisis. He's asked Blitz to take him out of the round so he can have a think about it. Am I a gangster? Am I just a G? What even am I? I'm dead.
Wait a minute, who are you? That was what IHC were probably saying when they were facing New Happy and almost losing. But not here, not now. Still a very contentious game between them and Lynn Vision. Our 2 favorites coming into these playoffs with good reason. IHC have definitely more on the calendar already as far as making it to Rio, to Melbourne. You know, they've got other chances to show what they've got against international teams. Lynn Vision have missed out on a number of them. They really, really do want to put themselves in a position where they can be the talk of the town and make it the ESL Pro League. Saw G with his swing and a miss at the start of this round, but you still see him hovering. A very detached setup, but one that is relatively safe. You see Starry not even trying to take a challenge, just get information, but not much being pushed forward on the side of IHC. Not a single player spotted. No one even hazarded the glance. They just throw some nades over towards Divider frontside bathrooms and decide to vacate.
Emilia. I think Mara has found as a freebie.
Oh, just like that, Zacker's found 2 kills. One in response to the entrance over towards Banana, and WestmeloN sweeps up the rest. So, ended up being no problems. That's perfectly played by Emilia, in all honesty. You know, the jump spotting that he's doing into the barrels and having a lineup so quick to get around the other side of Monster. As soon as that smoke blooms, he can feel safe in knowing that, you know, there's maybe 1, maybe 2 players he has to deal with, but IHC were split.
Very convincing defense coming out from them, yeah. Looked like... and look, this is where we have to remind ourselves, again, Lynn Vision, this is their map pick, this is their forte, this has been their forte for literally a year and a half, nearly 2 years. So yeah, CT side is where we should be seeing a lot of action from them. G misses out that first, and even a couple of steps missed out as well.
I think the important thing for people to realize as well, is that as far as Emilia's experience, he's not very, you know, a player with high rapport. I think, you know, he's definitely earned that more and more as he's played with Lynn, but before this, very little. Playing to a very high level, as is Techno, has been on a heater all game. Zacker tried to spam. Blitz got away with that on CT side. Mara even tried it, but no one on Lynn will succeed, and Emilia gets nothing as well. As impressive as he was last round, it's empty-handed here in round number 19.
Well, seems like it's just a back and forth. Right, as I'm saying, hyping up Lynn, you're like, oh yeah, guys, our CT side's gonna be amazing.
Yeah, it looked sick.
And
crisp until it wasn't.
Hmm.
You know, we were kind of talking about Annihilation and not having that much impact on the AWP on CT side. Some of that wasn't his choice. You know, sometimes the right move for him to make was to just save, and, you know, he'd very, very frequently take it.
That's one of the things about Annihilation that I think I've noticed. Sorry to interrupt your point,
Yeah,
Michael.
no,
It's just that, in general, he does put himself in positions where it is the right call to save, but I can't remember once when I've actually seen Annihilation play from heaven, like in a mid-round. And I don't know how much of that is him. I don't know how much of that is Blitz. You know, the team structure. There's so many different things that could come into it. But I can't recall Annihilation playing mid-round from heaven because there's a read or a B-bomb side hit or something like it.
Yeah, and also he's, you know, often left as like the last man to defend the A-bomb site. He's like an anchor AWPer. We just feel a little antiquated.
To save more. Yeah. That's one of the big reasons why IHC hasn't necessarily always had Overpass as a super strong map for themselves. Thoughts to think.
And not even in the shower for them.
Oh, G's going to be given an opportunity. Techno. I think we might have just spotted him on the jump spot. But regardless of whether that information is there, he has got his spider senses tingling and gets the hell out of there.
They've been very cognizant of the fact that IHC are going to try and take these rounds slower, and I think that's why we're seeing, you know, G hover for so long over on that A side, but just ending up empty-handed. They still haven't broken down their setup, and the spam is decent thus far from WestmeloN, but 2 players on this B bomb side, that's where IHC are headed.
Techno gone, Bartek gone, WestmeloN and Emilia are the trades though, so not all is gone. Starry continues to give them a little bit more assistance. Annihilation and Mara, the last remaining members. Mara good for the one, but he's lost his teammate. In the meanwhile, trades are consistent in this round, and unfortunately for Mara, that means his life is forfeit if the trend is going to be followed.
Yeah, couldn't follow his own expectations as well. You know, he got that 1 kill, he unlocked himself for the rest of the round, and I was kind of ready for him to at least get another, but now Lynn say no. the board. The slow style from IHC to open up this T side might be a precedent that is set to be broken. Looking to see whether or not they try and get Annihilation in the forefront of the action. A lot of early utility, a lot of early nadage that will set themselves up outside of B. Once again, this is a 2A setup, one in which they still hover inside of connector, but I imagine Star will be more accounted for considering he got the drop on their flank on short. Outside duel, WestmeloN taken down to low HP, but he wins it, and Emilia taken down for trying to use that same smoke monster. Techno has closed the gap, and he's found every single kill on this B site. There should surely be no way back in, but Starry's activated. He's got it back to 2-on-2, but Techno's taking every single one. Lynn have no hope to come back into this G on 34, but Techno out of the round now, 1-on-1, and G will just answer back. There was never a break in the action. Always another player coming into the fray, and somehow Lynn squeaked by.
Techno just needed the slightest bit of help, be it the smoke being in the right position so he's not covered off by Heaven, be it another player just having a deep flash that G-Con rotated, just another kill so he doesn't have to put himself out in the open like that. He's consistently looking for anything, and yes, in some ways he gets it all, but not what matters. Man, if this is the new Techno we're gonna see, give me some more of that, but can I also have some more of, like, you know, everyone else fragging?
Yeah, where was his help? Someone throw a Heaven smoke.
Or just the correct side smoke.
Yeah, it was kind of in the middle of nowhere.
Obviously, solid shots from G as well. Don't want to take that away from him. But now, Star is taking away the life of Blitz.
We'll remind people about, you know, the comeuppance of players like Nico, like Simple. Always doing so much work, but could never win anything way back when. And in some ways, they suffered from success. Or how Techno felt in that last round.
You'd think that you'd be happy feeling like Simple, but apparently not.
Took a while for him to find his smile.
And not that long for him to lose it again. Shout out Samda Young.
Well, you know, he stole his cut. You know, he was also rocking the curtains for a little bit. And
True.
We've entered the evil arc.
Ooh.
Nade.
Can I finish him off? Yes, sirree. Goodbye, Techno.
Decided to keep moving forward after getting legged like that, and yeah, G reads it perfectly. That's the type of action we were hoping to see out of the IHC AWP, but not to be.
Bartek. Gotta be a little bit more careful than that, buddy. Star is gonna be taking the inch forward as well soon. Blitz and Bartek. Both as they could just be caught out by Starry's timing perfectly if they're not going to be moving in soon. Starry's getting a little bit more contemplative about what could be coming their way. WestmeloN's taken out Mara, and that's where finally the activation from short comes in. WestmeloN's taken care of it. Blitz aware of his back line and is good for at least one. Keeps it competitive. Bartek keeps the competition going. Shows the fact that he has rotated away, but instead of going back through connector, it's a reset for Monster. Flashbang in for Blitz, but that's quite late. WestmeloN. All that does is forces him back into a slightly crushed position, and Bartek is lining up the headshot. It's through the wall. He's missed it. He's missed it. No! WestmeloN's going to be able to cover him off, and Blitz is the one to trade. Bomb can be planted. G again in the heavens. Trying to attempt one more clutch, and Blitz knows that he simply cannot be revealing himself at this stage. Peeks out the double USB shots. G is a maniac. God damn, Lynn Vision, how do you go finding these people?
How on earth has he won that? I think it might have been miscommunicated. I almost come to the impression that he thinks this last player is going to be low HP, but even in spite of that, just kills him with a USP. That's not okay.
I mean, it's just the slimmest of margins, right? G, sure, that's a great round for him to be able to clutch out, but also at the same time, Bartek just gets that shot through the wood.
Yeah.
Otherwise, it's never getting to that point.
Well, I mean, he strafed into the wood and then decided to shoot, so...
Yeah, okay, fine. I'm not saying it's not a mistake. I'm just saying it's a slim margin.
Yeah. G has won 3 clutches. And that surely should be enough to push Lynn Vision away with at least a notch in their belt.
Up? Oh, that too, yeah.
How many more does he have to win? Maybe 3 more.
And this is how it felt like when we casted that hyped game where hyped replaced Urson for the first time. Quite a late smoke for Monster, and it has gone awry regardless. Mara moves forward, moves through, spots out the graffiti player as well, but Techno's the one to collect. Guys, please smoke up heaven. Please, I'm begging you.
There it is.
And finally, it is there.
And just like that, they call it quits. 3-on-4, and they didn't want to try for it, so...
Sorry, I'm just imagining Vladimir. Oh no, they figured it out. They smoked heaven. What
Yeah,
now, guys?
This is worst case scenario, boys. They also only have a kit on G, who really wouldn't want to be at the front of the fold if they were going to go for a retake. Just too far gone. Too far away on those rotates. It's a good call here from IHC, attacking the weaker site and increasing the pace. They've been trying to slow things down in rounds gone by, and some of those executes, some of those plays have succeeded in finding kills, but they've never gotten a firm handle on the bomb site in time to actually get the bomb down, set up in post plans. Lynn have always been chomping at their heels. This time was far different. Kind of in a tumultuous spot. This could actually get access to a tying round for IHC should they win it. Money broken for the CTs. I'm glad WestmeloN's back. You know, last time we watched him, he was noticeably missing considering how influential he can be as a player. That's no good.
Not even slightly. WestmeloN will be trying to compensate with some aggression out towards short, but the problem is Bartek's smoke makes it so much more difficult because you always have to be worried about that connector presence. And Starry, speaking of connector presence, is feeling a presence, a ghostly presence even, and as he turns around, it is indeed a ghost. Casper has come through from behind, and Bartek has been the embodiment of him. A little bit less friendly. And a whole lot less nice.
He turned from the flash, and he turned his back, and even while facing forward, Bartek doesn't miss. What can you do? Ult recovered as well, and WestmeloN doesn't even succeed in dealing with Mara. Mara didn't move. He planted roots outside of B, and he found one through smoke. Made it a lot more awkward here for Lynn Vision. You see that from Star's POV. He's, you know, they've called for the flash. He turns from the flash, and then lo and behold, Bartek was the flash the whole damn time. Got there too quick.
Gosh, you're just making me think of the ridiculous things.
Run, Barty, run.
Counter-Strike 2 just comes up with, hey, you can now press a button to turn into a flashbang. We felt like with the grenades having new functions, smokes having different functions, and Molotovs as well being extinguishable by smokes, we needed a new flashbang.
It is such a weird time as well, though, by the way. Like, this game, the limited test is out. There's so much to talk about. There's so many things to, like, theory craft and think about. But we're not there yet. You know, like, we're still...
Yeah.
This is
without the beta.
Yeah, exactly. This is global offensive. We're still playing at the moment. You know, we still have to worry about whether or not the next season of ESL Pro League implement it, you know, we're still yet to find out when the release calendar is looking like for the game, and whether or not we all adopt into it almost immediately.
Yes.
You know, that's, you know, there's a lot of discussion to be had in the circuit now that everything is confirmed.
Yeah, first reminder to everyone, summer in Valve time doesn't necessarily mean what you think.
Could be the very end of summer, could be the start, could be the middle. Nobody, yeah, there's still things to figure out. We've yet to figure out who will even come out ahead on Overpass. Tying the game, Lynn probably not too satisfied with the fact, considering their defenses have actually been pretty solid, especially with all these clutches that G has won. Surely it's enough to influence how this game pans out, but win a lot of clutches does mean that you're actually put in clutch situations maybe too frequently. Very slow approach here from IHC.
Does also mean that your money is going to be absolutely atrocious consistently, so no opt-out for him. No util left at a minute left on the clock for Lynn Vision. This is a perfect situation for IHC with how much map control they have also collected and contained. Techno contained, though, on long. And all of that map control looks a whole lot more flimsy when you've got a man disadvantage.
Finally full clearing it, and now running back to the site. Bartek hearing the steps, so can actually call his teammates and confirm numbers. One from CT as well. They're going to hit B while he's trying to run interference, but not finding the kills. Blitz at least one counter, but through that smoke, WestmeloN has a small gap atop the side of it, but Blitz as well being dinged. There's just no way they're going to be killing for WestmeloN. They're both tagged up now, and both just sitting ducks for the WestmeloN and Emilia combo. A 14th round attained here from Lynn, one that never fell away from their fingertips.
IHC can't afford to be giving up rounds like that, where it feels like everything is just set up for them, but unfortunately they can't pull through in the mid-round unless they found a kill early in. To be a little bit more careful about how far the default goes. This is something we commented on yesterday about Wings, that their default on nukes would sometimes not know exactly when to materialize into the actual site hit. Have to make sure that you're not falling into the same trap if you're IHC.
Lynn, a very solid team at throwing in some disruptive maneuvers, and G has certainly been able to show up in that front as well via the AWP, but even as far as just breaching these bomb sites, the fact that the WestmeloN's having a solid game as well, will wonder if that does just push them further into that A bomb site. Don't have to deal with him if we don't fight him directly.
Much more concentrated around one area of the map. They've completely neglected B this time, and perhaps that might prove to be the wrong decision. See Starry, G, both very close by the door of toilets, and as the Envision set up, this could just be their path to 15. G, good for the first, not flashed off. The Molotov is too early before the peak comes forward as well. Zacher can also pick up one. The utility is all over the place, and Annihilation is the last man standing. Nothing to offer up here with 15 seconds on the clock. Bomb might be on his back, but so is the fate of his team, a fate that has now crumbled.
Yeah, I felt like there was a couple missed timings on when the utility was supposed to sail out. You know, the Molotov that was down, that was supposed to actually eliminate one of these, this sort of close angle that Zacher sat in. But because it didn't sort of spread far enough, he was able to survive in that tiny corner. I don't know if that's a misaligned throw or it was just simply poor luck. You know, maybe they tried to optimize too much for a Molotov when it has small elements of whether it'll spread to the right spots or not. Either way, IHC just fully disrupted by the fact they had that double setup truck and now have to try and play for the overtime. They've taken a lot of room in the early stages of this round. Still that presence inside of connectors. Starry right behind those flames, but lining up the spam perfectly. Bartak heard the tag, and Starry knew that he was compromised. Blitz out from Monster, though. 1 kill will be all he gets, and nobody can take his place. So a 3-on-4 in a vacuum, where IHC still have to re-navigate a multitude of different angles.
G's position is also perfect to be able to deal with everything that's coming their way. Re-peek back out over, spots out the shadow, knows Amara's inside toilets, but it's going to be a peek that is forced out on the shot. G caught out between a rock and a hard place, and Techno will finally knock him out as well. Mara continues forward, knows that he needs to get the kill, and soon, but he's just unable to. Techno, as great of a series as he's had, a 1v3 from this position seems to be unlikely at best, impossible at worst. Whereas the bomb plan going to be coming out towards, wants to clear out every angle, doesn't spot out the hip of WestmeloN either. And as the rotations are completely here, Techno will need to be able to fight his way into a plant. There's no other way to go about it. Techno, boost is being set up as well in the meanwhile. They don't want to take a peek. He's waiting, hoping, praying for a mistake to be made, but none will be. And so now forces them to take the peek, but Starry just wins the duel outright. IHC bend the knee, and Lynn Vision will come out on top in their map pick.
Yeah, I mean, really solid stuff. Some of these holes on the B bomb site were next to flawless, and we saw how awkward it was for IHC breaking in. There was definitely some breakage as well in the time.